The Canon 1083 about impediment of age. Required canonical age is 16 and 14. 16 and 14. They should have completed. Look at the use of the word validly. That means if that age has not been completed, it is invalid. Invalid. And paragraph 2 speaks about increase of age for the lawfulness. Bishop's Conference may establish a higher age for lawful celebration. Our Bishop's Conference has increased it in par with the civil legislation, that is completion of 21 for boys and 18 for girls. That's clear. Impediment of age. Now the next one is impediment of impotence. Impotency. We said canonically impotency is understood in terms of inability to have the sexual intercourse. Erection, penetration and ejaculation. On the part of the female, it is inability to receive the male organ. That's what we understand by impotency. But then look at the adjectives that are used there. The impotency must be antecedent. That means before the marriage. Impotency that occurs after the marriage does not invalidate the marriage. Secondly, perpetual impotency, not temporary impotency. Temporary impotency can be cured, but this is perpetual impotency. And then the impotency can be absolute. That impotency can be with any person concerned. Relative means with this particular person he is impotent. In both cases the marriage is invalid. It is an impediment. Absolute or relative. So, whether on the part of man or on the part of woman, whether absolute or relative, it is invalidating the marriage. Impotency we explained. Suppose somebody is forcibly raped. Is it a human act? No, it is not a human act. It is not a human act. Already one of the earlier canons said 1061, if the spouses have in a human manner engaged together in a conjugal act, in itself apt for the generation of offspring. That's what is important. In a human manner. The act is in itself apt for the generation of offspring. That's what is needed for a person for being potent. Potent. Suppose there is a doubt concerning impotency. Suppose the doubt is whether of law or of fact. You should always favor the person, not the impotency. Marriage should not be prevented if there is doubt. And then sterility neither forbids nor invalidates marriage. So know it for certain. We have repeated it again and again. Sterility neither forbids nor invalidates marriage. Marriage, sterility. But there is a reference to 1098. 1098 concerns deceit, cheating a person, even though you know that you are sterile and entering into marriage. So that is deceit. Canon 1085 speaks about prior bond, impediment of prior bond. Prior bond. The bond is there in every valid marriage. Where it is marriage between baptized or marriage between the non-baptized. Valid marriage between baptized is a sacramental marriage. So marriage between non-baptized may be non-sacramental marriage, is non-sacramental marriage. In both cases, you cannot marry another person's wife or another person's husband unless the person is freed by the death of the other party or declaration of the nullity of the other party. Declaration of the nullity of the marriage. You understand? Sometimes the marriage may be in fact invalid, but it is not yet officially declared by the church as invalid. Still the person is not free to marry. So you have to declare the validity or invalidity of the marriage, only then the party is free. Okay, we go to next 1086, impediment of the disparity of cult. Impediment of disparity of cult. One is baptized in the Catholic Church or received into a Catholic Church. In other words, one is a Catholic, the other person is non-baptized. Marriage is invalid, but dispensation is possible in accordance with 1125, 1126. Dispensation is possible. When the other person is non-baptized, it is a deriment impediment. When the other person is baptized but non-Catholic, then it is only a prohibition. Then you need permission in accordance with 1125 and 1126. 1126. Suppose a person is Catholic. He later on embraced another religion, defected from Catholic Church. Is that former Catholic bound by the impediment? Yes or no? Yes. Formerly he was not bound. If he had defected by a formal act, formerly he was not bound. Now there is a change in law by the document Omnium in Mentum, which says once you are Catholic, you are always bound by the impediment. Your baptism is not lost. Your Catholicity is not lost. You are bound by the impediment. That's why I asked you to put within brackets, unless by a formal act defected from the Catholic Church. They were formerly exempted from this impediment. Now everyone is affected by this impediment. Every Catholic is affected by the impediment when he is intending to marry a non-baptized or a non-Catholic. He is affected by that prohibition. Okay, that's it. Then the paragraph 3 says, if at the time the marriage was contracted, one party was commonly understood to be baptized, or if his or her baptism was doubtful, the validity of the marriage is to be presumed. In accordance with 1060, unless it is established with certainty that one party was baptized and the other was not. So, with regard to doubt, marriage is always presumed to be valid. That principle is repeated. 1087, impediment of sacred orders. So, what do you understand by sacred orders? 3 grades: deacons, priests, and bishops. Okay. 1088. Impediment of public perpetual vow of chastity in a religious institute. Not pontifical right. Impediment is both. Only dispensation, pontifical right. Lawgiver has not said in this canon about pontifical right. Don't tell all the Dyson right religious you are free to marry. They also must get a dispensation. But only the dispensing authority is different. Dispensing authority is different. Public vow. I explained what is a vow, what is a public vow, what is a private vow, what is chastity, what is Dyson right, what is pontifical right, what is religious institute, what is secular institute, what is Society of Apostolic Life. So one question is out now, this particular canon. Write as much as possible on each of the word of Canon 1088. 1088. Comment on Canon 1088. Comment on Canon 1088. Okay, we have studied other points also. 1089. Impediment of abduction. Impediment of abduction. According to me, abduction also goes very closely with the absence of consent. Abduction, in the case of abduction, the woman is carried away against her will. Suppose some woman tells the man, please carry me. Can we say it is abduction? No. It is actually related to the invalid consent. But still they have put it in the impediment of abduction. We already studied it. So the woman is taken against her will. Only when she is freed, then can she validly marry. An Oriental code, inclusive language, uses inclusive language, including the man being abducted, not only the woman being abducted. 1090 we studied about impediment of crime. Once again I don't want to repeat it. It is a very serious matter. If this were to be allowed indiscriminately, so many women may be murdered, and so many men also can be murdered, and many husbands will be building up a bathtub for their wives also, that they may die soon also. Like that also it can happen. So yeah, you have to see to it. Impediment of crime. Then impediment of consanguinity, 1091. Impediment of consanguinity. I taught you already what is lines and degrees, and then in the direct line it is invalid in all degrees. In the collateral line up to 4th degree inclusive. 3rd and 4th degree dispensation is possible in the collateral line for grave reasons.